Hi, my name is Crystal Trent, and this is my Business and Professional Class 1321, Section 1133-6 final exam. What is my stance on critical race theory? Well, a good point might be to understand what race theory was. So I'm going to list an article down below. Please click on it and read it if you want to know more about it. I think it does a pretty decent job at explaining where race theory came from. But I'm going to read a little bit here and there. So it's basically some bad science and ideas that are discredited by people who studied genetics today. And it's worth exploring, nonetheless, not only to better understand the history of racism, but also that these ideas continue to reverberate in the way some people talk about racial differences today. Down in the link, you'll see how very biased the descriptions are of Europeans, Native Americans, and Africans, and that's only the start of it. But in the critical race theory, is racist by free the people. I'll start by addressing what he said about anti-racism being racist. So anti anything literally means to be against it. So in what reality is racist to be against racism? The true notion is to be able to, or the true notion basically is being passive when others are openly racist is like not good enough. The true suggestion is that everyone should be openly against racism and should openly condemn it. So what he's doing is creating a very straw man argument. He says that CRT, I'm just going to shorten it so I can have more time, doesn't recognize individuals. That's simply not true. So CRT is addressing, or is trying to address, a larger dynamic, and it does not hold the members of like minorities saying that they can, or they were never racist, right? So CRT addresses misogyny and also the larger power structures that exist. A good example of minority groups were being unfair, subjected to poverty for generations, is the practice of redlining and unfair loan practices that have been attempted to be legislated away. And how hard that is to make it really like illegal, right? There's always some kind of loophole. But with that, I'll also link another link down below. So please read that. I don't think that collectivism is the issue. I think that it can be wielded as a weapon, such as like individualism can as well. So like all ideologies, it can be like a blade that cuts both ways, for progress or regression. So collectivism seeks to uplift a group over an individual. This can harm or be harmful and helpful often at the same time, so in a way the individualism can often harm a group to help an individual as well. So does that discredit the whole idea? No, I don't believe so. I think the long and short of my beliefs is judge a person as an individual and judge a systematic issue as a group. So with like my personal experience, I'm a mixed person. I'm mixed with a few Asians and also white. So I was brought up in an Asian household in a very low income area for all my life, and I was the minority of the minority. So with that, I always felt welcome, even if, I was entering other cultures that weren't mine. And that was really nice. I have always appreciated it, and I always enjoyed diving into other cultures as well. So it really wasn't until like I went off to college and began to work in like nicer areas whom had, a higher density of whites, right? That I noticed discrimination. And for example, I worked at a very upscale Mexican restaurant and loved the folks there, loved the food. But I had a regular that happened to be white and asked one of our bartenders basically, why is there a Chinese woman here? And does she even speak English? My instant thoughts were like, why does it matter what race I am? And why am I Chinese? Why am I automatically Chinese? And why does he assume that I do not speak English? So is it because of the set in stone ideologies, or maybe the possibility of just never being aware of it, right? So the only reason why CRT even existed is because the political and intellectual elites in America lied about saying that it is over, when really it's not over, right? CRT arose in legal studies as a form of analysis to show how the claims were not true and how American law perpetrated racism and white supremacy. So, should we incorporate this theory into employee training in the US? Yes, my answer is yes. The goal is to bring awareness, not shame. So, that is my final exam. Thank you for listening. Really hard to keep it under 5 minutes.